Welcome, welcome. My name is Trish. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's talk world events today. So one of the biggest things that I think is happening at the moment is the meeting between Trump and Putin. We're talking about the war between Russia and Ukraine. Let's see what the cards have to say about this. You'll see a little QR code up in the corner there, and that is for where to get this deck from. Otherwise, I'll put a link in the description box. So let's get into this reading. First of all, I'm just going to do a shuffle, no question, just talking about the energy around the Putin and Trump meeting. Okay, so now I feel like I've got to tap in a little bit better, which I will do. I'll do a bit more of a tap in. But straight up, we have failed negotiation. Now, according to what they're saying, it didn't sound like it's a failed negotiation, but I did hear something about a quote of there's no deal until there's a deal. So, meaning it's not that it's been successful or it's not that it's failed, it's just there's no deal at the moment. So obviously there's still things they have to work through, and that's according to all of the information that's getting around the internet. But the cards are in alliance and in agreement saying that at the moment it's kind of failed negotiations because there was no real outcome to that meeting. So that's the energy. Now we also got housing and infrastructure, so land, buildings, the area itself, which is in general what the war's about. But we're going to go a little bit deeper into that as well. To get into this reading, the cards seem to be on it already straight away. Let's see, do we see in the future or in the near future, maybe by the end of 2025, do we see an outcome here, a favourable outcome? We may see a reversing course, reversing action, and a deal made. Awesome. That's good news. It's good news for everybody. If they can come to some kind of a agreement and reverse the course that they have been going down, make so there's no longer war, that is just perfect. So the cards are indicating now, how that happens, whether that's talks between Ukraine and Russia, however this happens, the cards are indicating that deals are going to be made. Doesn't mean deals are going to be made for everything, but deals will be made over certain things, and there will be a reversing course, which does sound like to me good news. Good news for the whole world. Okay, what else do you want to tell me? Well, let's get back to the Putin and Trump meeting just for a moment. Let's see what the cards want to reveal about the Putin and Trump meeting. Okay, I'm laughing because I knew that card was falling, so I was trying to let it fall, and the other cards fell out with it. It's a global impact. It affects the globe, which kind of leads me down to another question that I might look at for that one there. And I'll tell you why when I get through here. So there's environmental concerns here, concerns over the war in the area and how that's affecting infrastructure, housing, the land, environmental concerns, of course, war and the bombs and everything else. There's so with the war, ongoing war, of course, there's environmental concerns here. So this may have been raised in the meeting, something about the impact that it has globally, especially when it comes to environmental concerns, infrastructure, and actual environmental concerns. They are working on a solution here. To work in progress. Now these two, there's lots of hidden behind the scenes things going on here that we're not being told about, and perhaps even some issues raised around the misuse of funds. This is what the cards want to talk about. So hidden things that won't be released to the public that they've been discussing, and it could be related to the misuse of funds. Now the global card, I've been looking up. We had an episode, I think it was 60 Minutes last week, on Greenland and the natural resources in Greenland, and how one of the Australian mining companies has the right to mine this very valuable, rare mineral that's used for, the creation of phones, electric vehicles, weapons, all kinds of things into the future. So, and I've been looking the world globe to see where Greenland is in relation to Russia and China and America. And it's very, very close to Canada, and it's at the top. So we're at the bottom here in Australia. It's in the northern hemisphere, top northern hemisphere. It is the biggest island in the world, and it's in between Russia and North America. There is some other countries in there, such as the Swedish countries in between. But yeah, the biggest countries would be the Canadian border and then the big Russia on the other side. And Greenland is a very big island that sits in between, full of a very rare, valuable earth mineral that's very useful. So I think that is going to be, I'm wondering, is that part of the negotiations? Because they're worried about making deals about, this is another topic, but it is related. So, and where I'm getting that from is the globe picture there. They're talking about Greenland not wanting to make a deal. They don't want it mined. There's fights with this mining company because they don't want to mine, and they want to make sure it's done safely, which we have very safe mines here in Australia. We're a mining country, but they don't want that for Greenland. So there's issues around that, but then Trump is wanting to get involved in Greenland. This is what the 60 Minutes episode was about, because he wants those resources. Now, this particular resource is, I think, 80 or 90% of this resource is owned by China. So China has the rights to it all over the country, all over the world. It's China that has most of this. It could even be as high as 95%. I'm not exactly sure of the figures. If I find it while I'm editing, I'll put it on the screen. But this particular one in Greenland, China doesn't own. So America's talking about wanting to get rights to it. Australia already has mining rights to it, an Australian company, but Greenland's in a fight or a battle with them at the moment. So my question is, has that come up at all in the meeting between Putin and Trump? Shift of power. So by what the episode that I watched, it will shift the balance of power, because this resource is currently mostly owned by China. They have the rights to it in all around the world, except in Greenland. So there's going to be, and it's the deposits of it is huge in Greenland. So whoever gets this will shift the power, will shift the balance of power. Military control, economic challenges. So this is what's coming up around that Greenland and that mineral. That's not mineral. It's a resource, a rare resource. Okay, so we're seeing military control. So military here, economic challenges around it. Was it discussed in the Trump and Putin meeting? Well, that one wanted to come out. Interim placeholder. It's like maybe open up the door for talks about it. Maybe they had too much else to get through, but it's like an interim talk, I guess you could say. An interim, so not so much this time. No, but it's interim. It's an interim thing. So, and collective action, that would be Greenland. So Greenland wanting to revolt against this. Forced hand. So the Greenland uprising, but they're trying to force their hand to make a mining agreement here. But it says no, they didn't discuss it, but it is an interim placeholder, so the topic will come up. So that's very interesting. So let's get back to the meeting. What is the hold-up between these talks, these peace talks? There is one particular issue that they cannot agree on. So can you tell me what that is, please? What is this main issue that they're not agreeing on? Misuse of funds, once again. Again, in the last spread, it said hidden, something hidden. This one it's saying selling secrets. So again, it's indicating secrets between this war that's gone on between Russia and Ukraine. There's something hidden within that related to the misuse of funds. And again, it's coming up as one of the points that why there will be no agreement. even though they said coming up there will be an agreement. But at the moment, that's stalling the process. They want a complete overhaul on the policies, on the by policies, I think they're meaning the whole way, the whole setup of it. The policies means the whole structure and setup of the system around Ukraine. So they're wanting an overhaul here. Misleading headlines around it. We will see misleading headlines between that meeting between Putin and Trump, so watch out for that. There'll be lots of misleading headlines coming up around it. Relentless determination. Tell me more about relentless determination. Uncertainty coming up. And providing intervention. So countries stepping in to provide intervention with the open negotiations. But there is still a bit of uncertainty around the outcome of this. This is the cards. I feel like they're all over it. I think they're pretty clearly tapping into the energies here. So while the cards are on it and reading really well, mounting tension on the bottom. Let's take a look at what we're going to see in the interim prior to there being any peace. So what is next? What will we see next? Mounting tension. Easily bought. Now, these cards fill out in a clump, so in the interim, is what I said, we will see the economic challenges and military control. So controlling the military or the economic strains here, again, easily bought, and then we had misuse of funds. So there's money still changing hand here related to this war. So obviously it's about funding the war, where the money's going. There's issues around money to do with this war, but there's going to be shifting dynamics. This card fell out in a clump. They had 3 had previously come out already. But this is in the interim before we have any deals. Tell me let's take a look at this from the point of view of Ukraine, please. Let's take a look at Ukraine's energy. Even though they wasn't involved in this particular meeting, let's take a look at Ukraine's energy around Trump and Putin meeting. So the meeting between America and Russia, how does Ukraine? So I've lost some of this reading and I'm not sure where the connection got lost. So the question that I'm asking is how Ukraine's feeling, Zelensky's feeling about the meeting between Trump and Putin. The energy that's come out there is disappointed, maybe disappointed because he wasn't involved, because he wasn't briefed and in command. So that, I'd say, is why there's disappointment on that energy. But shadow, ruler, facade of goodwill. Let's put another card on that one there. Shadow, ruler, facade of goodwill. This is the feeling Ukraine's feeling in this situation. For money and power, military, but economic challenges. Okay. This could be controversial, but this is not my opinion. I'm going to ask the cards. Who is more likely to want peace? So let's start with Russia. Does Russia want to bring this war to an end? They want to shift the dynamics of this war. So that's Russia. They want to shift the dynamics of this war. They want change. They want shifting dynamics, so changes. Maybe they want the whole thing to change. Let me lay one more card on that. Pursuit of control. Okay, that makes sense. So let's take a look at Ukraine. Does Ukraine want an end to this war? Look, yes, economic growth. They want economic growth. But there's empty promises, a deal made with empty promises, seeking assistance and support. So it could be funding, but seeking assistance and support, a deal made, but there's empty promises. Okay, final pull. We'll see what's left of this reading and if we lost any. So, bottomless money pit. Well, I would say that it has been a bottomless money pit, but it's going to be shifting dynamics and a successful outcome. I didn't really even get to pose the question properly, but we will see shifting dynamics between the war with Russia and Ukraine, and we will see a successful outcome, a trusted advisor, and a bottomless money pit. I think that the bottomless money pit is the amount of money that has been sunk into this war. So, and I feel like, they can't just keep sinking money into this war. So there is going to be, that's the current situation. This is the situation coming up. So one final card, please. A policy overhaul. The whole thing's got to be overhauled to bring fairness and balance for both parties. So both parties have to be satisfied with the compromises here. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again on the next reading.